Welcome to the Gita in Action podcast. My name is Radha, and I'm here with our family of seekers. We're reading through the Bhagavad Gita verse by verse. We are in chapter 9 today, the most confidential knowledge. And Krishna's talking about this material manifestation. And we're learning that he's the controller, he's the maintainer of this material manifestation. And this really gives us kind of like an awe factor when we can really realize this, that Krishna's behind everything. So this is kind of the section that we're in this chapter. Before we start, I do want to kind of give a shout out. Just this past weekend, new development kind of unfolded. I think in March, I will be leading a retreat with some folks at New Vrindavan in Costa Rica. And it will be like a bhakti yoga spiritual retreat. We'll be doing lots of fun things like waterfall hikes, tortoise excursions, beach days, and we'll be mixing it in with satsangs and kirtans and all of the things. So it will be really restful and rejuvenating. So if you're interested in kind of like a bhakti vacation, please, I'll give more info later, but feel free to reach out to me directly or I think we're gonna post this week. We'll open registration because it's gonna be the middle of March. And this is a great retreat if you have like a significant other that's maybe like on the fringe or maybe like not kind of like into it, but not really, supports you. This is a great retreat for both of you because you get like all the things. You get a mix of like fun things, and then we'll sprinkle in some yoga and kirtan and bhakti love. So yes, please come. We're gonna make it super reasonably priced. Like it's just gonna be baseline price. We're not looking to make any money off of it. We're just doing it just so that we can have association and satsang and spread bhakti love. So okay, that is the pitch for that. Now let's start with our prayers. Let's get into the Gita this morning. Shakti, do you also want to do our readings also today? Is that okay?
You can do that.
Okay, wonderful. And when you're ready, let's do the prayers.
Boy, I'm a little bit frazzled, but let's get started. Om Agyana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kara Mayam Dandatisva Pandatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Satam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sadan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancha Garungi Radhe Vrindavan Ishvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Prananami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschataya Tarayane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaitya Gadahara Srivasari Guru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Beautiful. Thank you, Shakti. So nice. Okay, so we are starting. Let me pull up, see where we are here. We're starting at chapter 9, text 8 today is where we're starting. Chapter 9, text 8. And I'll go ahead and share my screen. 8. And Shakti, do you want to do the Sanskrit or do you just want to start with the translation? Oh, you're on mute.
I'm game for trying both.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's do it.
if it's not 100%, I think Krishna understands.
Yes.
Um, Prakritam svam avastabhya vishyama punaha punaha Bhuta graman imamam Krishtanam avasam vasat. The whole cosmic order is under translation. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end.
Beautiful. Thank you. So Krishna's basically saying here, everything in this universe, how it appears, how it runs, and how it eventually dissolves, happens under my will. So it's his gentle way of reminding us that the entire cosmic cycle is not random. It's not chaotic. It's not even like natural in the way that we usually mean that word. It's directly supervised. It's directly supervised. And then comes the mysterious part, the part that sounds kind of mysterious. He says, everything enters into me. What does that actually mean? The Gita tells us, the purports tell us that at the end of each cosmic cycle, so after the universe has lived out its full lifespan, everything folds back into the body of Lord Vishnu. So every living being, every planet, every atom, the entire cosmic structure, everything returns to him, the way that waves return to the ocean. So he creates everything, he maintains everything, and then at the end, everything rests in him. And from our perspective, we have zero control over this. So no matter who we are or what we can achieve here, we can't pause time. We can't stop the forces of material nature. We can't prevent the universe from dissolving. And we're tiny compared to these powers. I was just thinking about this the other day, like with all the scientific advancement we've made, all the really just unbelievable things that we can do, we have not figured out a way to stop death. And if we did, it would actually be kind of terrifying, right? Because we're still having babies, and then it would just be like a fight over who lives, who stays live. It would just be brutal. So it's kind of like a gift that we haven't been able to figure that out because it would really mess things up. But it's this is the inconceivable, unbelievable power of God, right? We're so tiny. And everything is under God's control. So here Krishna is expanding our vision. He's not only the maintainer. We talked quite a bit about how he's the maintainer, making sure that the sun rises and the earth spins. But he's also the overseer of creation and destruction. So the entire cycle of material nature operates under his directions. And when we really understand this, because most of us don't really, I mean, we hear it and we know it, but like to really imbibe it, if we when we really get to that place, it's we stop thinking that we're the center of our own little universes, and we start feeling held by something that's just infinitely bigger and wiser and more loving. And there's kind of like a security in that, that we're being held by that. We can kind of like relax. Like we don't have to try to control everything because we have such limited control anyways. So it's kind of a nice thought. Okay. Does anybody want to share anything before we move on to the ninth verse? Okay. When you're ready, Shakti.
Na chamam tani kamani nibadanti dananjaya udasina vad astanam asakatam tesu karmasu. Translation. O Danjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I'm ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral.
Yeah. So in this verse, Krishna is saying, all this work cannot bind me. I remain detached as though neutral. So, in other words, he's saying, even though the entire universe is running under his supervision, his creation, maintenance, destructions, he himself is never entangled by any of it. He doesn't get karmic reactions, he doesn't get swept up in emotions, and he doesn't get personally involved the way that we do. Again, when we think about running our households. You know, we have children that we created, right? Children that we maintain, and we start to feel like they're ours, and we get super emotionally entangled in that. But imagine Krishna's creating the entire universe. So not just one, two, 10 kids. Some people have 10 kids. That's a lot of kids. No, Krishna has like, you know, trillions of living entities that he's the father of. And he's not emotionally involved in a way that is entangling. He loves them, but his love is completely selfless. He's completely detached, like a perfectly impartial judge. And material nature that he creates, it has its own laws, its own built-in system. He designed it that way. And he supervises it. But he doesn't supervise it according to his personal likes and dislikes like we might if we're supervising something. He's not sitting there thinking like you disobeyed me, so now I'm going to punish you. That's not how it's working. It's the law of karma that delivers reactions. And Krishna simply lets the system he created function. So he created the law of karma, but he's not the one that's like, personally enforcing it. He's supervising it because it's his system that he created. So if we think about it, we'll see that if like an ordinary person kills someone or burns down a house, they face serious consequences, right? They're held accountable. But sometimes we might think like, well, Krishna oversees the destruction of entire planets, right? Entire universes even. Does he suffer any karmic reaction? And the answer here is no, because he's not the one doing it. Again, material nature is doing it. It's following a system that he's established. So he's the overseer. He's not the actor. He's not like participating in it. He just created the system. And the whole purpose of the system is for us to realize that we actually don't even want to be separate enjoyers and that we want to be with Krishna, right? To us to realize our actual eternal identity and to turn back to him. But because in the meantime we have separate desires, he's created this system for us to fulfill those desires. But it's intended, the purpose of the system is to facilitate this realization that there's actually nothing here for us, and the greatest happiness exists in union with God, and that's what we actually want. But we have to actually make that decision. And within the system, God gives us the free will to make that decision. So when we see these things happening that we can't explain, sometimes or really bad things happen. We see bad things happen within the system that we sometimes get a little bit upset about or blameful. Sometimes we want to blame God, right? Is he responsible? But we have to understand that God created the system, but he doesn't force anyone into it. He doesn't force anyone into it. It's like a king who oversees a jail. The prison exists under the king's authority, and the king knows what's happening there. But if a prisoner suffers in the jail, is it the king's fault? And the answer is no, because the king didn't force the prisoner to commit the crime that landed him there. So similarly, the living beings in the world experience suffering. And it's not because God's punishing them, but it's because we chose independence from him. And when we choose independence from him, we're automatically placed inside that system and we're subject to the laws of the system. We wanted to enjoy separately, so we're entering this correction center of the material world. God doesn't have a personal vendetta against anyone. Never. He's not emotionally reactive. He's not entangled. He's just simply overseeing this system that is meant to guide us back to him. And when we turn towards him and we follow his guidance, he cares for us completely. Just like a king lovingly supports citizens who follows the law, who follow the law. And we're going to get more into that in the next verse. Should we go to the next verse? Hopefully the next verse will have some good shares. Does anybody want to share right now? Okay, let's move on to the next verse.
We'll see
10.
here. Okay, very small for my little eyes. Oh, there we go. Madhyayaksena praktihi suyate sa karanam karam hetunanena katu kaunteya jagad vipra vartate. Translation. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again.
Thank you. So Krishna's wrapping this section up by saying something really comforting. Again, he's saying material nature is working under my supervision. And let's zoom in, let's double click on this word supervision a little bit. Because again, the supervision word, it doesn't mean that he's doing all the hands-on work. Like a supervisor, supervisor. They're not doing that hands-on work. They're not stressed or entangled in every single detail. They're overseeing, they're guiding, they're making sure that things move the way that they should. So Krishna's describing himself like that. He's saying he's overseeing both from above as the Lord of all creation and from within as God in the heart, as the super soul in everyone's heart. But again, we have to remember this. Even though he's present everywhere, he's never caught in anything. He's above the material consciousness. So he's untouched. He's unaffected. He's steady. And this brings us to the point we were just making here. It's about this is telling us something about the nature of this world. Again, that even with all of its struggles, some of us struggle quite a bit. Some of us have family members that struggle quite a bit. We have to understand this isn't a punishment. It's not a punishment, it's a reformative place. Like that correctional facility. It's designed to help someone come out better. That's what this time here. That's what this time here on this planet is, in this material existence. Okay? It's just like that. The king, who may not be physically inside the jail, but the entire system is arranged for the ultimate good of the citizen. So this is the same as Krishna. He's created this world as a place where we can try out all of our desires. We can learn from the results and eventually turn back towards him. We can try all the things that we think will fill our hearts until we realize actually none of these things are really filling my heart. And I need something more substantial. I need something eternal, everlasting. Only God can fill that God-shaped hole in our hearts. But we all have to realize that. We all have to play out all of these things so that we realize that and we turn back. And God could have let us go completely when we turned away, because we're all here because we turned away from God. We're all here because we turned away from God. And God could have just like let us go then. But he didn't. He didn't do that. Instead, he created a space where we can explore, we can grow, we can experience. And in time, we can remember him again. So that's what we're all doing here in this correctional facility. And part of understanding this space is understanding the environment that we live in. So when we talk about the environment, we talk about the world around us, the atmosphere we inhabit. It's important to remember that all of this is not actually ours. If we really lean into this correctional facility, this correctional facility analogy. It's not ours. It was set up for us. But when we're not God conscious, we tend to default into the mindset that it is all ours. And we try to control it and use it however we want. And most of the time to just satisfy our own sense gratification or ego. Or sometimes we'll get so into that mindset that the environment will be just like completely ruined. And then people will swing the other way and say, let us just leave it alone. It can take care of itself. But the Gita gives us a different perspective, a different way to relate with nature and material nature around us. Again, the Gita teaches us we've been placed in this material world for a purpose, not to exploit it, not to escape it, but to spiritually grow through it. So our whole journey of evolution, it culminates in aligning our consciousness with something bigger, with divinity, with the whole. And as we progress on the spiritual path, we'll start noticing this subtle thing that the environment around us actually shapes our consciousness. It influences how we think, how we feel, how we behave, how we show up in the world. And once we can become more sensitive to that, we'll start working with the environment instead of against it. So this is like a whole new way to relate with nature. It's not like mine to exploit however I feel. Right? We want to work harmoniously with nature. We recognize that it has a big impact on our consciousness. So let us work with it so that we can allow it to support our spiritual growth rather than distract us from it. And let us honor the environment as something sacred, something that belongs to God. So we have to treat it differently than we have in the past. And we don't just see it as a place to live, but we see it as a space that shapes us. We realize that it can either dull our consciousness or it can elevate it. And so with that appreciation, we can cultivate surroundings that are nurturing, that are uplifting, a space that helps our whole being grow physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. This is like holistic understanding. When we start to become spiritual, we start to recognize the connection of everything, the connection of us with everything around us. And we start to honor it in that way. And we start to try to live harmoniously with it, recognizing that just the environment it shapes our consciousness. What do you think so?
Okay, hi. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry if I was making noise. I didn't know
No,
if
we
I was
didn't hear
doing
you.
that. Oh,
You're
okay, good.
perfect.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say, you had said something in there where it was like when, when we kind of make a decision and or, commitment towards this path, as your consciousness develops, I think as you stand firm in some of the, principles you're trying to uphold. Like for me, I've taken a path of celibacy now, um, and I don't. And kind of what you were saying, like the seeking outside of the relationship with Krishna is like, it's looking for something to fill that void. It here
Mm,
is going to be miserable, and I'm just
mm,
going to say, like, as I become aware, I see friends who just are constantly like relationship chasing,
mm,
and it always, it always goes through the same cycle because everything's like impermanent, right? So, everything's all great and wonderful, and then it's this, and then then it's over, and then repeat. And it just, like, to me, it's like a cycle of just like continued suffering. It's hard to be like, I don't know. I guess I'm happy for them because they're happy in the moment, but I also know, like, it's like a momentary, those other things are just, even if the relationship's good or it gives you something, it's still a momentary happiness, right? It's going to pass. The relationship will end,
yes.
like all relationships end, and then then you'll keep repeating the cycle. And I'm not sure what's gained in heart. It's kind of repeated heartache, other than just, I don't know. It seems it's very futile. But also, I think once you make that commitment, you'll notice. Like for me, I notice more like open, universal love. I have quality
Mm,
of relationships, and I connect more to others, and not just in the bhakti, not just all here, everyone's here, and others. I just mean like in my life overall, you just tend to connect with people who you attract that. You will continue to attract those kinds of like meaningful relationships that whether people have at least good consciousness or they're moral or they're like or they have some sort of faith connection. And I've just noticed that happening. So anyway, that's my thing.
That is exactly it. And that's exactly what we're talking about too. When you start to develop spiritual consciousness, you start to stop seeing the environment around you, people around you, whatever it is around you as things to be used for your own enjoyment. You start to see it more in its connection to God. And you start to seek people, places, things in your life that support that relationship. And in doing so, just like you said, you attract things, people, places that support that relationship, and you feel held in that. And right now we're talking about the environment, but this is everything. This is all material energy. We want to try to start to change the way that we relate with everything around us, so that we see it as God's energy. And we understand that we're here to realize that our spiritual nature and to turn back to God. So the way that we interact with material energy around us, it can either support that or it could do the opposite. It could support the notion that I'm the center, everything's meant for my enjoyment, so let me enjoy the way that I want. So and this is exactly what we're talking about. We want to change that. It's I work for this tech company, and we hire people to work for our clients. And some of the language we use is we call these people resources. And we're talking about how many resources do you have? And at first I thought it was like resources like money. Then I learned it's like people. And I text my boss, I'm like, I cringe every time I call a person a resource. He's like, I totally agree. We can change it to consultants. I was like, oh, good. Let's call them consultants. Because it's just like, we view people as, what can you do for me? How can you give me a little bit more satisfaction and happiness in life? Right? And it's just, it's toxic. It reinforces this idea that I'm the enjoyer, I'm the center. Right? And this relationship, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thanks. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So when we combine this understanding of the environment, and again, the way that we want to try to start changing our mindset, our perspective, the way that we relate with the environment and material energy around us, right? When we combine this with God's supervision, something even deeper emerges. And that's that, again, creation, maintenance, even destruction, it unfolds under God's direction. And this is such a beautiful, comforting implication for us, because sometimes on a spiritual path, we feel like, I'm trying to serve God, I'm trying to do the right thing, but I'm stuck in this material world. I'm battling my mind, I'm dealing with constant challenges. Maybe you're trying to relate to people in a more holistic way, but you're just not there yet. And you notice it. And it's like, it's making you feel uck. It's making you feel yuck, right? So it's like, how am I supposed to keep going? Am I doing this alone? And Krishna's telling us right here, he's saying you're not alone. You're not abandoned. You're living inside a system that I've designed, and it's unfolding under my supervision. Right? This is God. This is God saying, He's with us. He's always with us. And it gets even sweeter because God oversees everyone with neutrality, right? But He becomes personally involved with His devotees. So you're really never alone. You don't have that neutral judge overseeing the system you created. Now you have like a personal friend, like an insider, right? Who's like getting you in the fast track lines, right, at the amusement park. And so for those who want distance, He respects that desire. He lovingly gives them space, just like a child who wants some distance. You can't force it. He doesn't force Himself into anyone's life. But for those who want to come closer, His whole mood changes. He becomes active. He becomes attentive. He becomes deeply caring. Those of us that are parents, if you have, a couple kids or a kid who's gone through these different stages, sometimes they want distance. Okay, I'll give you distance because I love you. Because I love you, I'll respect that distance. And then sometimes they want the closeness. And nothing makes us happier. Like, yes, I will reciprocate with you tenfold, right? For every centimeter you take towards me, I will take 10 great big steps towards you. This is Krishna. So even when God seems hands off, it's not that he's neglecting anyone. He's has compassion for them. You know, he's respecting their wishes. And he says, okay, explore what you want to explore. I'm right here whenever you're ready. He gives us that free will. But for his devotees, if we turn towards him slightly, he becomes completely hands-on. He guides, he supports, he arranges, he gets personally involved in our journey home. So let's remember this. The degree that we're reaching out to God, he's picking us up like tenfold. And this naturally leads us into another insight of the Gita about why we struggle. But why we struggle. We often suffer because, again, we're living inside these narrow definitions of success and failure that are all centered around me. This is when we get into materialistic consciousness. Success means my plans worked. Failure means my plans didn't work. We measure everything by our own timeline, our own expectations, whether life follows the script that we write. And then when things fall apart, not just once, but repeatedly, we feel frustrated, discouraged, ready to give up. This is such like an illusion, right? That we're in control. The success is measured by how well things fit into that. But the Gita is widening that tiny box that we've trapped ourselves in. And this is the point. This is what we have to, this is like the key to getting out of that correction facility. One of them anyway, that we really have to understand and imbibe. We're not merely material beings trying to rearrange material pieces. Our life is so much more than that. That's such like a waste of a life. It's an illusion of a life. Because we're missing the whole point. We're just like in the correction facility, like painting the wall of our room. It's like, this is not going to do much for you. We want to get out of here. There's so much more to be had out of here. But we're obsessed over like, oh, should I paint the wall of my room purple or blue? It's like, it doesn't matter. It's all misery. Right? And not that, to say that we have to have some kind of comfort and while we're here, but don't let that distract you from the actual point. And the actual point is that we're trying to get out. Right? We're spiritual souls. Our real success isn't whether everything goes our way. It's whether in those moments we deepen our relationship with God. So if things aren't going our way, great. Are we deepening our relationship with God? Are we using that experience to deepen our relationship with God? If yes, great. Success, right? Change our definitions of success and failure. We try to get out of this mindset that I'm the controller, that everything needs to revolve around me. And if not, I'm unhappy. Now, is this experience bringing me closer to God? Yes. Success. No? Okay, why not? What needs to kind of be shifted or adjusted in my internal psyche to make this happen? What do you think, Shakti?
I love this conversation. And like George is like pointing, like poking me. You can't see him because he's like saying, like, that's you, But one of the things that we can be that I'm grateful about is like I know Jaden, who is my son. I know he's not mine, right? But he put himself in this university program. He heard good. He wanted. He heard for whatever reason he's in this 6-year master program, and in year 3 he's like, why am I still writing English essays? Why am I not in architecture yet? So he looks into it. He figures that not until year 5, whatever. So he's like, I think I'm going to change schools. I want to start working architecture sooner. I'm going to, and so by the time all of that gets to us, he says, he sort of mentions it, but he doesn't give us the whole truth. I said, are you not happy? And he said, he goes, no, not really. Like, it's a lot of writing. It's not, not the architect. And I said, well, if you're not happy, then change. Like, and he said, well, I don't want to disappoint you and so on and so forth. But then, like, what this is here, this is the change. So this is where I was heading to, is that like we did things differently. He sent his papers to one school, sent them to another school, tried to figure out if he can get there for this semester. It couldn't happen. So he's like, I already signed up for this semester. I'll just do this semester and then I'll transfer into another program and I'll finish my architecture that way. Like it didn't happen the way he planned it, the way that he thought it should happen, the way he, had all of his energy to say, this is the ABC. It should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if it's not going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then my mind's going to explode. Like, because that's me, right? Like, if I don't do it exactly in this order, and if it doesn't all happen, then I'm not going to be okay because I don't know how to maneuver and shift in that way. What is it? Pivot. Right, pivot, a great word. And so, but Jada knows how to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
My child knows how because I knew it was something that was good to teach him. So these were things like that like when I think of that, I think of Prahlad Maharaj. I just think of like the things that he was and I mean, of course, obviously big difference, but the piece that where you can, your children or people that are younger than you, people that are around you, they can learn hopefully things from us, from you, from people around them, and how to be and how to behave without like that would have if I that was me, I would have been totally off track because it wasn't going exactly as I planned. And that is, I mean, that's a win. It's a win,
Yeah.
So he's teaching me,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thanks, Shakti. Yeah, it's really a skill to be able to kind of land on your feet in these kinds of situations. And like the ultimate skill is to be able to even like change your metric completely to like, okay, things aren't going the way that I wanted. Things are kind of painful. But in this moment, how can I use this as an opportunity to to grow closer to God? I lose a job. Okay, maybe I'm stressed about money. Maybe I'm stressed about my career. But maybe in the short term I have a little bit more time to chant and to join calls like these and to focus on my spiritual life a little bit. And if I can use that time to do that, then it's actually a success. And I'll see, and I even using that time, using that scary moment, as a way to, as an opportunity to lean closer to God. That's exactly what this correction facility is made for. So if you're suffering right now, that's okay. It's actually designed to shake us up a little bit so that we have these opportunities to reach out to God in destitute. So that things kind of are shift a little bit so that we have these realizations. And so we can probably all think about something in our life that has just not gone the way that we thought it would or we wanted it to. And then we can probably all think about how can I, in this moment, in this shifting of my life, how can I use this as an opportunity to grow closer to God? Maybe it's more time. Maybe it's some kind of relationship that, is struggling that you can show up with a little bit more loving, a little bit more compassionate. And then it's these choices. It's how we make how we address these situations in our life that determine our spiritual growth. And our spiritual growth really comes down to one thing, and this is faith. This is faith that God is our greatest well-wisher, that he's guiding, that he's arranging, that he's caring for us, even when we don't understand his plan. And our faith is growing through our choices and through his grace. So we want this faith. This is the goal and the process. We want this faith that God's our greatest well-wisher, that he's guiding, that he's arranging, that he's caring. right? And depending on the choices that we're making, right, and his mercy, our faith will grow. So when our material plans collapse and we feel like quitting, again, this moment becomes a special opportunity for spiritual growth. This is where our choice matters most. In this moment, are we going to deep into discouragement, right? Are we going to like fall into discouragement? Are we going to feel resentful, upset, angry at God? Or are we going to say, God, I don't understand this, but I trust you. Right? And I'm going to keep serving you with whatever capacity I have. And when we do this, when we choose faith, when we make these choices in these moments, this is what attracts Krishna's grace. So we take like one little step forward. Okay, I'm kind of blind to what's going on right now, but I'm going to trust you. And God will just pour his mercy on us. God will pour his mercy on us. I remember the first time that I did something like this. I was like in between jobs and I had no idea what was next. I had like sold my house. I was running out of money. Usually my material consciousness would be like so much freaking out because I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a steady place to live. I was like living with my friend. I was running out of money. It was just like, but because I had like a little bit of spiritual knowledge, I was like, okay, this time I'm going to do this differently. I'm just going to trust. I'm just going to go through every day. I'm going to keep my eyes open for an opportunity. I'm going to try my best, and I'm just going to trust that God's got a plan for me. And and when I did that, it was like all of a sudden, like this dream job just fell right into my lap. It was just it took care of all my problems, like moved all my stuff. It was like better than anything I could have ever imagined. Right? But we have to make that decision. And it's not even necessarily an external one. It could look the same externally. It's an internal one. Like, are we going to be freaking out inside because we're so convinced that we have to take care of ourselves or the world's going to collapse, that we've got to have a plan, that we've got to have it completely under control, right? Or are we going to choose in that moment that we're going to have a little bit of faith in Krishna. We're still going to try our best. We're still going to try our best. We can't just like throw in the towel. But in doing that, our consciousness is, I'm trying my best. Krishna's got my back. I'm trying my best. Krishna's got my back. I'm going to look for opportunities. Krishna's got my back. Right? It's a different narrative. It's softer. Right? It's not so abrasive. It's not so like riddled with anxiety. Krishna sees this, and Krishna showers his mercy. And this is how our faith grows. What do you think, Stella?
Yeah, hi, I'm finally here in the waiting room. Um, there's I think it's a Gita verse, but something I can't really remember it. It's like just even starting down the path, no matter how imperfectly, um, saves you from a great fear. Do you
Mm.
know that verse?
Yeah, yeah. Let me think.
Hmm.
Turning down.
And that fear, and when you were saying like you don't feel as anxious or frazzled, that's like saving us from that fear. So
Yes.
being on this path really does, because it took me a while, like, I'm not usually like fearful, but actually anxiety is a form of fear, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And feeling frazzled is a form of, fear because you don't feel in control and all that junk. So
yeah,
yeah, I
it's
thought of
like
that first, but now I can't, I don't have the bandwidth to look it up or anything, but it did remind me of that verse.
yeah, it's I think it's Gita 240. Like a
Oh,
little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
that's it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like we
yeah,
don't have to be perfect to start. You don't have to have it
yeah,
all together. You can still be kind of like a mix of like I'm hanging on tightly because I'm a control freak, but I'm also trying to let God in a little bit and trust.
yeah.
And just
The
that little bit.
dangerous kind of fear. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can still have fear, but it's not the dangerous kind.
Yeah, because Krishna sees that effort and he comes and he showers his
Yeah,
mercy.
yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
nice.
all I wanted to say.
Yeah, beautiful. Anybody else?
I think with I'm sorry, I just like the sharing that not having to be perfect. Um because I said something a while ago that, when I first came into this, which I was in my 20s, this was in San Diego, and I came to the Pacific Beach Temple because I was living in San Diego at the time, and I just with some roommates, they're like, "We're going to the temple, we'll have prasadam." I was like, "What's that?" And they're like, "You don't have prasadam?" I was like, "No." So like, come on. And like that was my introduction to it. But it's the funniest thing because I do feel like, and this is why I'm always happy to like, I always give people books. I always give people Joppa bags, just my friends. Like I'm always just trying to do a little thing because it's kind of planting just that little seed. And here's the thing, like it is growing even if you've turned away, even if you've given up, even if you're not thinking about it every day, you're not consciously practicing, like it's rooted and it's growing whether or not you realize it. And the amazing thing is that um Krishna always kept finding me again and again. Like when I was
Mm.
going to leave San Diego, I was like, well, where am I going to go in Pittsburgh? I mean, oh, you're close to New Brindavan. I was like, well, what's that? Like, I didn't even know that this everything started here. Really, I was like, oh, okay. And then somebody told me about the Kirtan Center even before the pandemic. I know I started popping in and out of there. But then the funniest thing was that just by chance, here comes Krishna in my life because I was at the playground. I was at Frick Park. My kids were little then. I think it was like when my oldest son was like 9 and the other one was like 6, and they met this little boy in the park and they're playing with him. And I met his dad, and I had a lot of problems with it because I was a single parent, and a lot of parents are just, I don't know, they're like helicopter parents and they're just not cool. They're really weird. But I really connected with this one parent, and I was like talking to him. And I was trying to be respectful because I know like he has his own relationship and everything. But at the same time, like his son was like, Dad, get their number. I want to play with these kids again. And then he started telling me how he was born in Gita Nagari. And I don't even know where Krishna came up, but it came up. And then, and as a result of him still knowing some of the community, this is before his father passed away because his father was a big devotee there and to remain that way his life that through his life that we went there in 2015. We actually went to Gita Nagari with him. He wasn't continually practicing, but he still has his, Bhagavad Gita. But this is just the thing, how it just keeps, you
Coming
know,
up.
coming back in, and not that I've ever, and I've just, and I've gone to so many churches and we even have a home church here, a couple really, but you know, it's just one of those things that whether you realize it or not, and it's okay if like, I only did one round of job, but one day I did 12 rounds and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get to 16. Then my son called and had a crisis. I was like, oh, I tried so hard. Like it didn't happen. Like maybe some other time because life happens too. I'm like, devotional life is you want to make I think that's what's hard is like don't get frustrated because I think sometimes like life is like we live in a modern world and we have modern day problems and it's a lot. We work, we have to sustain ourselves, we have to provide for ourselves, our families, and then we're trying to, fit this in. But even if you're just mindful a little bit throughout the day, like one of my things I look the most forward now on my days off is I go to yeah, I go to Frick Park and I do my japa. I at least get
Mm.
four to six rounds done and it's a beautiful walk. So I get my exercise, I get out and I'm doing that. So that's like if I have a day off, I'm like, yes, I can just do my thing. So I
Yes.
don't know. I'm sorry. That's my 2 cents.
No, it's perfect because Krishna sees our effort. Again, for every one step forward you take, he's taking 10 steps towards you. Just like that. Like you were in it, but then he came. It wasn't really, he puts a devotee right in front of you. It's like he sees that because he wants to. He's like a loving parent. If you see a little bit of interest from your child, you're gonna fan that flame, right? You're gonna pull them close as much as they'll let you, as much as you can. And God's doing that for us. He's doing that for, and just like Shakti said at the beginning of the class here when she was reading the verses, she's like, I'm gonna give it a try, but it might not be perfect, but I think Krishna's okay with that. Like it's like Krishna's happy to see her trying. It may not be perfect. Okay. Krishna sees her trying. And one of these days, Krishna will give her the knowledge to, bang these things out perfectly because he sees her effort. He sees her sincere heart. She's trying to serve him. Maybe imperfectly. Okay. But he's gonna take that and he's gonna carry it. What do you think, Shakti?
So I want to share this. I'm sorry if I think it's on topic, but it's something that's just in my mind, and you're my family.
Let's hear it.
So, uh, I'm, Maharaj, my guru, asked me to take over the Hamilton Bhakti Yoga Circle, which I think we know this, right? And the people that were there for 5 years, they didn't really massage it. They didn't give it the love that it really deserved. It sort of never really kind of made it past a certain 15 number of people. And so I was trying to get into all the accounts. The passwords he gave me were all wrong. Like everything is kind of a mess, right? And then Maharaj says to me, my guru, "Oh, I'd love to come tomorrow to see you at Bhakti Yoga Circle before I leave because he's going to be traveling a little bit." I said, "Oh, I would, that's great." And I looked at George. I'm like, "Oh my God, there's going to be nobody there. It's going to be horrible. We don't have a kirtan person. We don't have, we don't have, we have food, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that show up." I couldn't get into the email he gave me, all this stuff. So and he's like, "No, it's going to be great." He's Mr. Positive. So we're like, okay, okay. So we get there, we put everything together. Maharaj shows up. And it's me, and I'm like, first of all, I played the harmonium for the first time ever in front of somebody other than George. Like, even if it was Hare Krishna, I've never played it in front of anyone but George. So I played it in front of my guru and and two people, and then this my guru's like person that he travels with. And then, sorry, and then nobody else showed up. And I felt like such a failure. I felt like I let him down. And and then he did kirtan, and we had food and we talked, and I was just like, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. This is so embarrassing." Like the first time he comes to see me in this new place, and there's nobody here, and there's no kirtan person. And I felt so horrible. I just felt like I came home and I just was crying. And I felt like I let him down. And I apologized to him. I said, "I'm sorry. I'm a fallen soul and you've lifted me up. And but I can't deliver what I know that you want," because he wants to put an actual temple there. But he needs to create a group first, right? Like people that are there. And he says, "Shakti, you don't disappoint me." He's like, "That's why you're Shakti. You're going to make it happen." And but in the moment it's so hard because like he's my person. Like my father is passed, my mother's somewhere, and like so my guru is who I look up to, who I serve, and I want to do the best service that I can. And I'm having such a hard time. Like I spent the whole day yesterday going through the paperwork, trying to figure everything out. George printed out flyers. I looked up some yoga studios so we can go hand them out. Because I'm like, you know what? It was what it was, but now we're here. So now we have to do things that are different because obviously it's not, because I know there's people that would be like, "Oh my God, there's a Bhakti Yoga Circle." I know that, but I also know that like I need to play, like I do need to learn how to play like the harmonium or the mridanga because there's not always kirtan people that can come.
Hmm.
So we need to self-support that way.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I'm like it's breaking my heart. Like my heart feels like it needs a massage. Like it just feels so, like I just want to please him, which I know in turn pleases Krishna, which in turn also pleases Srila Prabhupada. and I feel like one of those like a throw out person.
This sounds like the perfect service for you. This sounds like the perfect service and the perfect even thing that's happening, because the what happens is these things purify us. They purify us and they teach us that like, hey, this isn't all about me and this isn't all about, the results of my effort. This is and your guru just wants to see you try your hardest with a sincere heart. That's why he's so encouraging. That's all he wants to see, just like we talked about the last time. I'll be honest with you guys. I used to not do things because I feared I couldn't control the outcome of what was going to happen. Like even like this podcast, like I would have never done this podcast myself. But it's like Veda pushed me into it, and then Veda said he'd do it with me, and then Veda kind of ran off. So now I'm doing it by myself. And it's like somewhere along the way, I think I'd become a little bit okay with like, I might do this and it might not happen at all. Like I try to start yoga classes at our kirtan center. Shakti, same thing happened. Not a single person showed up to these yoga classes. And it's like we can't do things because we have in mind how it's going to turn out or what the result's going to be, or we have to just do things because we're trying to serve. And when things don't take the way, we have to say, okay, how I see what's happening? How can I reorientate so that I can serve more effectively? And just accept it as Krishna moving things the way that he wants, because it's not about us. We're not the controllers here. We're just instruments, and we're trying, and we're like half blind and like stumbling around, and it's like, okay, I see Krishna, nobody showed up to that yoga class. I'll try something different. I'll try doing a yoga class at the university, right? 30 people sign up, right? So it's like it's fine. It's Krishna showing us this is that we need to do something differently, and we just stay sincere and we just do our part, and he'll arrange things for us. But we can't get discouraged and we can't make it about us. And that's what we're supposed to learn along the way. Right? I remember too, one of the ladies at the Kirtan Center, she left me this voice message like, Radha Priti, I heard that nobody showed up to your class. I'm so sorry. And it was like just really like, and I listened to it and I was like, oh, that's sweet that she thinks that I'm like sad about it. Because it's like, you know what, we're gonna do things and it's not gonna happen, and that's okay. We just reorientate, we pivot right towards, and we learn, and we go on. And this happens so many times to Prabhupada. So we are in like the best of company, right? He's so many times you read his Lilamrita or any of his biographies, it's like he tried so many things and it just didn't happen for whatever reason. Because Krishna was preparing him for the service that he really wanted him to do. And that could be us too, right? It's just Krishna just wants things to move a different way, so he's moving them. But don't take it personally. This is the lesson. We just have to see it, understand it's Krishna, and try to move with it. Beautiful.
Yeah, I was telling her, you know, it's the first one, right? It's sort of like a refresh, right? So you got to start somewhere. Like everyone starts somewhere. And then I said, it's the first time she played harmonium in front of anyone but me. And I said, the fact that you even did that, it's like, that's the win, right? Because she was,
Yes.
you get self-conscious, you get scared, like, am I going to play it right? It doesn't even matter. Like the fact that you were up there playing, right? And I, we didn't have someone that was going to do the kirtan. So I was up there with her and I was doing
Like a shaker.
I had to shake her. I was singing the mantra, and I'm in my mind. I'm like, I've never done this before either, but it didn't really like for me. Stuff like that doesn't phase me. So it's kind of like the yin and the yang. So I try and keep her grounded. But I told her, I was like, at the end, I was like, you played harmonium for the first time in front of there was five people, including us, right? It's like it's huge. Like that's a like a monumental win.
Mm. Wow. And look what Krishna sent you, such beautiful, supportive husband. My goodness. He's already showering his mercy on you. I mean, just look at that. And these things are important because they teach us how to get out of our own way so that Krishna can come in. Because as long as we're driving the boat like, I got this, I know where I want it to go, I'm in control, Krishna's going to teach us that we're not. And that's just paving the way for him to really use us as instruments. Because when we're in control, he can't use us as instruments. When we're driving, when we know there's no room for him, right? We're in the driver's seat. There's no room. So we have to learn that we're actually not, and we have to be okay with that. And then get ready, because Krishna will come in and take us places that we would have never even imagined were possible, because they're not on our own effort. And this is the process. Thanks, Shakti. Thank you so much for your vulnerable share. We love you so much. You are going to do incredible things for God consciousness, because you'll make yourself that instrument. You are. So what do you think?
Well, speaking of flow and movement and driving and traffic, it was funny because I was thinking about when I was in India, like how people drive, like that road to Mumbai to the eco, like, lanes are kind of optional. You have people on scooters, you have like these big trucks, and then you have like regular cars, and everything's just honking, and the occasional cows in there on a major highway or something like that. And it's just I mean, that was like my first, like, getting out of the airport and into a car and on that road, and I was like, oh my God, like, like, everyone's beeping constantly, but it has this just it still flows. It's this really weird flow of chaos. And I mean, consciously I'm thinking, how are there not more accidents? How do they not wreck? This is so because we have a little more organized structure in the way it's the way we drive, and we're supposed to, we have lanes, we have traffic like, there's none of that. And it's just but and it wasn't just there. It was like any road I went on, no matter what, this is how, like, the traffic went, even up those mountain roads in Rishikesh, which was, and we did get into an accident, actually. So it does happen. um but it just, yeah, that, if you can, like, breathe in that space, in that traffic, like it's really a lesson about letting go of your control or your perceptions of how this should be going, or how it should operate, or how it, you know what I mean? I think a lot of that is if you hold on to your perceptions of what you think it would be. And I think George said, everybody's got to start somewhere. And I think that's just it. I think it's just, and then again, whether you're just doing the Maha Mantra and like one person shows up, it's still, it's a small kirtan. It's still, valuable in that you're raising that vibration. You're gauging, whoever's there, even if it's just you and your guru. It's like, okay, that's enough, you know? So,
Yes.
yeah.
That was Krishna's plan for that particular meeting, and that just inspires you to push more and go further, and he'll see that. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so the Gita's teaching us this, when we lean into faith, setbacks stop being reasons to give up, and or even get frustrated. Right? They become invitations to grow up spiritually, grow up emotionally, and grow up in our relationship with God. Later in the chapter, Krishna is going to reveal explicitly how he shows his grace, how he personally carries what his devotees lack and preserves what they have. So the message of this verse, it's simple and it's comforting. You're not fighting alone. You're living your life under God's supervision. And he's with you. He cares, and he's gently guiding you back to him. So that's ultimately what we're all doing here. Just looking to go back. So that's all that I have for today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your hearts. I love you all. I love this community. Look forward to seeing you every week. And we'll see you on Thursday.